Hi everyone, we're just wrapping up AMO's June board meeting and I wanted to give you some highlights. Ontario's legislature is on summer recess and they left us with some homework. AMO is reviewing a number of new bills and proposed regulations. New workplace legislation is capturing headlines. It proposes far-reaching changes to labor law. Our task force of experts is looking at what it means for municipal governments, both as employers and as service providers. Minister Flynn wants to hear our perspective as soon as possible, and we will be participating in hearings on this bill this summer. We will also work with other employers. We will also focus on these labor changes at our Municipal Labor Relations Symposium on September 22nd, so please mark that date in your calendar and come. The government also proposed a regulation to create a standard asset management plans. Simply put, the asset management plan you completed several years ago will need to be revisited if the regulation proceeds. Many of you may not be aware of this. The review deadline for July 24th is approaching fast, so we've called for more time so people can respond to it. Under the province's proposal, municipalities will have to go beyond current service levels and predict future service levels. It will also require an analysis of operating costs, such as energy costs, and require you to predict changes to weather and environmental patterns. Municipalities with more than 25,000 people will also need to forecast the demands of population growth and economic growth. The expectations are demanding. The proposals require expertise you may not have on staff, and there is no funding for this work. We need you to look at this. We need your advice. We need to know whether you can meet these requirements and what it might cost you. Legislation was also tabled to update the Conservation Act and to bring transformative change to the Ontario Municipal Board. Both are important, but I want to make some comments on the OMB. AMO's planning task force with municipal representatives from across the province worked hard to develop ideas for meaningful change. The time we spent with the ministry has paid off. We are optimistic about the province's bold new steps to reform the OMB. Developers, residents, neighborhoods, and municipalities all have points of view, and they are not always the same. Providing an alternative way to settle disputes should help improve the planning process. Fewer matters should go to a full hearing. The government understands that municipal governments, the public and others, have become cynical about OMB decisions. We spend a great deal of money and time on the planning process. Too often, municipal governments are forced to spend precious time and money to defend planning decisions that are already approved and in place. We will still need to manage and balance local and provincial land use interests. This legislation touches every municipal government in Ontario, and we will have a plenary session on it at the AMO's annual conference in August. Finally, I participated in the recent local government summit involving colleagues from across the province. While the responsibilities of municipal governments varied, it is clear that our roles continue to expand. It is also clear that current revenue sources are not going to serve the future. AMO's in-depth research on our future fiscal health proves that case in Ontario. The public, young and old, are getting it too. We need to build on this. There needs to be a strong, unified voice so that we can move from the back seat to the front seat to drive to meet our community's needs. Finally, I look forward to seeing you all at the AMO conference in about 8 weeks. Join us in Ottawa for an action-packed and educational program. For a full synopsis of this week's AMO board meeting, please go to www.amo.on.ca.